Saša, let's begin there. How do you cover this story when you can't get in to North Korea?
Well, you're absolutely right, Diana. I mean, North Korea is possibly the most difficult place on earth to get information out of. The curtain is very tightly drawn at all times.
How do you manage that?
Well, I think you pick up bits of information everywhere you possibly can. A couple of weeks ago, I was in Seoul in South Korea. There's a great deal of information that's floating around there from the intelligence services, also from people who have escaped from North Korea and made their home now in South Korea. They have been talking, they've written books, they've talked to journalists there. They are fairly open about what they've experienced. And also, there's others who are in North Korea. Not many foreigners are in North Korea. Very few journalists are there also, but there are diplomats. There are others who travel in there every once in a while, and so you have to piece together these bits and pieces of information and try to come up with a broader narrative.
And what do we know about what North Koreans have heard, if anything?
Well, it's an interesting case because in this particular situation, the North Korean government has actually been holding scrums. They've been holding news conferences, but not inside the country, not in North Korea. They've actually been releasing bits and pieces of information which have been broadcast outside North Korea. And the ambassador to Malaysia, for instance, held a scrum on the front steps of the embassy there. As far as we know, that was not broadcast inside North Korea. The average North Korean probably knows very little, if anything, about this whole case, even though it concerns the ruling family, and perhaps that's why they don't know very much about it.
So let's assume for a moment that Kim Jong-un did orchestrate and order this attack. Why would a man who is so secretive bring this kind of scrutiny upon himself?
Well, he had very little choice if, in fact, he wanted to do this because his half-brother, Kim Jong-nam, doesn't live in North Korea, hasn't been there in years. In fact, he makes his home in Macau, which is the gambling enclave here in China. He's been sort of under the protection of the Chinese government unofficially ever since he left the country many years ago. And so, first of all, I think it would have been difficult for Kim Jong-un to carry out this assassination inside China.